board meeting this Tuesday, March the 1st. Is it working? Closer to it. Good evening. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome you all to this school board meeting Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. The public is encouraged and welcome to address the school board at the hearing of citizens. Cards will not be accepted after the start of this meeting, which has already begun. The board clerk, Kathy Tompkins, to my left, has collected the cards for our hearing of citizens. When the meeting begins, no more cards will be collected. We will call you forward at the appropriate time. And now let's stand, please, for the flag salute under the direction of the Venice High School Marine Corps JROTC and the direction of retired Master Gunnery Sergeant Frank Troxel. We will have the pledge led by our student assistant, Ashley Ayat, who is a student at Venice High School. Ashley? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we sit down, let's have a moment of silence, please, for all those people fighting for their lives and for freedom in Ukraine. Thank you. You may be seated. So now we're pleased to enjoy a live performance featuring the Venice Middle School Travel Team Orchestra performing Beyond the Thunder under the direction of their music teacher, Ms. Susan Hines. That was fabulous. Thank you so very much. Give you a minute to clear the area. I think I've heard that piece before, and I just think it's wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Next up, our student representative today, as we said before, is Ashley Ayette from Venice High School. And welcome, Ashley. It is so nice for you to be here with us today. Just gave you a certificate thanking you for being here. And what I'd like you to do first is to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're going to be doing with yourself in the next year or so.
I would like to begin by thanking the school board for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a 12th grade IB career program student in Venice High School in the Medical Academy. On campus, I'm involved in track and field, and I'm also the student body treasurer and vice president of both Social Studies Honor Society and Math Honor Society. In the future, I plan on attending the University of Florida with my major as health sciences. And I would like to go on the pre-med track, and hopefully after medical school I can become a cardiologist.
Oh, that's just wonderful. I understand that you have your twin sister with you, Audrey, and a friend, Brian Williams from Venice High. Could you please stand up? So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your PBIS plan and your civility squad message.
Yes, at Venice High School, our PBIS plan is be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. And the civility squad character trait of the month is pay attention, be alert, be aware, and be prepared to show you care. And having an awareness of those around you is vitally important in school, not only school, but also in interpersonal relationships. On campus, having awareness of the struggles of those around you allows you to help them in whatever they need, whether it's helping them with a math assignment or giving someone a shoulder to cry on. Clubs on campus, like Math Honor Society, which provides tutoring to other students, are some of the ways for students like me to be able to reach out and help others. I know Math Honor Society, for me, I've been able to help others, but also my peers have been able to help me succeed on topics I've been struggling on in math class. And efforts to help people with their problems can drastically change not only their experience in school, but also their lives. And sometimes people are too afraid to ask for help and reach out. So as members of a community, we need to be prepared and willing to reach out to others so they can be set up for success. On Venice High campus, the SCL class periods, which is social emotional learning, has been key in teaching me how to identify others who need help and how I'm able to provide care for them to help them succeed. Thank you.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you. Well, we're so happy to have you here. So again, thank you for being here today. And next we'll continue with some more special presentations. The first presentation tonight will be recognizing the positive behavioral interventions and support model schools. Would Ms. Deb Jackalone, Executive Director for Student Services, please approach the podium to begin this recognition? And there she is.
Hi,
Deb.
Thank you, board members. Thank you, Ashley, for being here. And thank you for all of the staff and community members that I see here to celebrate with us tonight. It is a very special night as we recognize the work of our schools during a very difficult year. 2021 posed a lot of challenges, and we are here just to celebrate the schools that overcame those challenges and were resilient during the 2020-2021 school year. A special shout out to our Wilkinson Wildcats that are here to share some of the great work they're doing at Wilkinson Elementary. And at this time, I would like to turn this presentation over to Stephanie Vlahakis and Rex Ingrid. They are the student support staff that help support our schools, our staff, and our students every day. So at this time, Stephanie.
Thank you, Deb, and thank you, board members, Dr. Asplin and Ashley, for being here, and Wilkinson and our families. So the criteria for resilient model school status for the 2020-2021 school year included that schools had to be an active PBIS school, submit 3 documents of evaluation items, obtain recommendation from our PBS coordinator, Rex Ingrick, and adapt their PBS programs to support virtual and in-person learners. So, Tier 1 is the foundation for all activities in the school that involve student and adult behavior. The school-wide expectations are the core curriculum for the behavioral and social-emotional supports used in all settings and for all tiers of instruction. Schools teach these expectations in a variety of ways. Students from Wilkinson Elementary are here to model how they teach their school-wide expectations to all staff, students, and families. Wilkinson?
T, an agent of civility. E, eagerness to learn, serves you well in the long term. A, actively participate, be proud of what you demonstrate. M, mindfulness of others, be polite to one another. R, PBIS team esteem. S, safe actions, always call chain reaction. T, take responsibility, an agent of civility. E, eagerness to learn, serves you well in the long term. A, actively participate, be proud of what you demonstrate. M, mindfulness of others, be polite to one another. R, PBIS team esteem.
Wow, that was great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I want to thank Karen Strickland, the PBS coordinator for Wilkinson, and Mr. Ken Trapper, music teacher, as well, for help presenting that wonderful rap to our school board tonight. So before we present the schools, and I want to say that there's 33 schools tonight, I want to add that we were in the top 4 in Florida of all the districts to receive the recognition for model school status for the 2020-2021 school year. So at this time, I have one of our middle school representatives, JP Laramie, and he is going to present our elementary schools, followed by Ashley to present our middle and high schools. I'll help you if you need help.
Hi, I am JP Lattimore from McIntosh Middle School, and I'd like to congratulate the following elementary schools and their PBS representatives earning Resilient Model School status. Alta Vista, Barbara Shirley, Principal, Kelly McWilliams, PBS Coach. Ashton Jacob Russo, Assistant Principal. Atwater, Cindy Throw, Principal. Bayhaven, Erica Brusso, Assistant Principal. Brentwood, Taylor Mowry, PBS Coach. Cranberry, Allison Reaney, Assistant Principal. Inglewood, Kurt Schwartz, Principal. Fruitville, Dusty French, Principal. Garden, John Carey, Assistant Principal. Glen Allen, Becky Drum, Principal. Gosio, Amy Baldwin, PBS Coach. Gulf Gate, Leigh Michaelacco, Assistant Principal. Teresa Mori, PBS Coach. Lakeview, Lauren Piat, PBS Coach. Lamarck, Troy Thompson, Principal. Don Morales, PBS Coach. Philippi Shores, Holly Staley, Principal. Tina Quintana, Assistant Principal. Southside, Stephanie Erickson, PBS Coach. Tatum Ridge, Barry Dunn, Principal. Toledo Blade, Michelle Giddens, Assistant Principal. Tuttle, Leslie Odell, CTC Coordinator. Venice, Kirk Hutchison, Principal. Wilkinson, Susan Nations, Principal. Dr. Tammy Miles Brown, Assistant Principal.
Hello, I'm Ashley Ayette, and I'm from Venice High School. Congratulations to the following middle and high schools. Their PBS representatives. For earning resilient model school status. So Booker Middle School has Danny Leal, Assistant Principal. Brookside has Ryan Chase, Principal. Heron Creek has Cindy Gross, Assistant Principal. McIntosh has Maureen Bassett, Assistant Principal. And McHenry LeBoers, Principal. Sarasota Middle has Lisa Lyon, Assistant Principal, and Charles Elsey, PBS Coach. Venice Middle has M. Hagan, PBS Coach. Northport has Shannon Fusco, Principal. Sarasota has Becky Moyer, Assistant Principal. Suncoast Polytech has Jack Turgeon, Principal. Venice High School has Taryn Foster, Assistant Principal, and Dr. Tanica, VHS Assistant Principal. Oak Park has Jamie Lowitz, Principal, and Shane Swayze, PBS Coach. And then Triad has Melanie Ritter, Principal. Congratulations.
Maybe they can get you to Photoshop.
And let's give one more round of applause to Wilkinson, JP, and Ashley. And thank you to all the principals and APs. This concludes our special presentation. Thank you.
And next up, I'll let everyone get out of the room before we go further. The next presentation highlights the Arts in Schools Month. When Angela Hartvickson, Fine Arts Curriculum Specialist and Manager of EdXplore SRQ, and Brian Hirsch, Program Director, Any Given Child, please approach the podium to begin the presentation.
Good evening. In March, we celebrate the combination of Youth Art Month, Music in Our Schools Month, Dance in Our Schools Month, and Theater in Our Schools Month. We're going to call it Arts in Our Schools Month. The benefit of the arts for students are numerous. Individual students hone their skills in collaboration, problem solving, focus, and creativity. but the benefits are great for the overall school culture as well, helping with student motivation, attitudes, and attendance. The arts encourage students to stay in school, succeed in life, and succeed in work. We're here tonight to showcase the impact of the arts in schools, and we'll highlight a few successes and some students from our district's arts programs. As you entered the board chambers tonight, you were treated to a slideshow of artwork from several middle and high school students. The slideshow featured pieces of artwork that earned Gold Key Awards in the Sarasota art region of the Scholastic Art Awards. Shown here are 4 pieces that earned the highest regional honor, American Visions Recognition. Gold Key entries are automatically considered for national awards, including gold medal, silver medal with distinction, silver medal, and scholarship awards. We had over 125 students from 7 schools earn gold keys, silver keys, and honorable mentions this year. We're very proud of all of them. A slideshow of the winning art pieces will soon be available through the district website. You have a list of those students on the gray sheets in your packet. 2 of the amazingly talented students you heard perform with the Venice Middle School Orchestra, Isabella and Delilah, participated in this year's 7th and 8th grade Florida All-State Honor Orchestra. The Florida Music Education Association and its component organizations present 23 different all-state ensembles that rehearse and perform as part of the annual FMEA Professional Development Conference. This year, we had 48 of our secondary students chosen from 11 of our schools and from 17 different music programs. It's quite a unique and comprehensive learning opportunity for music students. We are proud of our all-state students. You have a list of their names, schools, ensembles, and teachers in your packet as well. Theater students participate in Thespian Festival assessments, and the dancers recently attended the Florida Dance Performance Assessment. All of our programs continuously participate in exhibits, concerts, MPAs, and performances of all kinds. You also have a list of March performances in your packets. A big shout out to our talented and inspirational arts teachers. They help make the magic happen with all of their hard work.
Thank you, Angela. Also a shout out to Angela, my colleague, who's an amazing collaborator. It's always great to present with her. Arts in Our Schools Month indeed reaffirms how the district has prioritized the arts and experiential learning as part of our strategic plan. In addition to participation in performances assessments and juried art shows, as Angela mentioned, via the strategic plan, we will also pay close attention to student enrollment in arts courses, as well as participation in experiential learning. And just to reiterate on why the arts are so crucial to student success, a very recent research study carried out by MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and published in the Journal of Neuroscience is now showing how powerful music can be on a child's brain development. According to the author's study, learning music during our life, and in our case, during school, makes the brain more connected, which in turn makes the brain neurologically capable of many things, not just music. Quote from the author of the study, "This study demonstrates how the human brain is shaped by experience." So yes, experiential learning, as in EdExplore SRQ, where we are celebrating 10 years of the initiative in our district and community, helps our students grow and connects with content areas in addition to the arts. All right, here we go. So, we know how the arts celebrate the student voice. And with us tonight is an incredible student from Gosho Elementary, accompanied by dance teacher Aaron Fletcher and music teacher Krista Pannon. Gosho is an elementary that, in addition to art and music, has dance and drama. We will hear directly from star student Keyshawn Graham, but first, let's check out this video featuring on-camera acting techniques. Roll the video.
How many Valentine's Day cards are sent every February 14th? A, about 100,000, B, over 145 million, or C, 30 million?
The correct answer is B, over 145 million. True or false? Back in the 1800s, doctors prescribed chocolate for those disappointed in love. And it's true. Hello, my name is Keyshawn Graham, and I am a 4th grade student at Goshua Elementary. I am a 3-year member of Goshua Performing Arts Program, which includes drama, dance, and music. Acting, dancing, and singing is an important part of my life. It makes me feel confident and has helped me focus on what I need to learn and do at school. Before Christmas last year, I lost my grandmother, who took care of me. It was very close to our holiday show, and I decided to still keep rehearsing because I felt that it would be better than staying home and being sad. I had to focus on the positive things in my life, and performing allowed me to do just that. I plan to continue using my abilities in the future through middle and high school. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you all today.
Thank you, Keyshawn. You're a true star. Amazing. Thank you so much. So thank you to Goshua for creating a culture of inclusion and belonging through the arts. As Angela mentioned earlier, arts help students stay in school, succeed in school, and in life. And Keyshawn absolutely exemplifies that. And Keyshawn isn't alone, as our community partners and organizations, whether through EdExplore or after school and weekend programs, help enhance our student experiences in the arts. And now to you, Angela.
And I share the shout out to my great colleague, Brian. So thank you for all you do, Brian. We've highlighted the arts disciplines of music, visual art, and theater, and we're going to close with dance. We're delighted to have with us this evening Sydney Mays, a VPA dance student of Heather Nelson's at Northport High School. Sydney will be performing ballet to the Lilac Fairy Variation from Tchaikovsky's The Sleeping Beauty Ballet with choreography by Marius Petipa. Enjoy. This concludes our presentation.
Well, this was just wonderful. Thank you all for being part of this presentation. You know, the arts are so special to us. And I think we have Angela, do we have a special person back in the audience sitting on the left? Could you introduce her, a former teacher? Would you please introduce her? And would you please talk about the award that she received this year at the conference?
It is my pleasure, and thank you for pointing her out. She was sort of hiding back there. In the back, we have my predecessor as the Fine Arts Program Specialist, Lucinda Cindy Balistreri, who was the Fine Arts Program Specialist for 12 years. and before that, a music teacher in our district for many years. She is the reason many of us are here doing what we do in the arts at the school district, and is the reason much of the arts advocacy happens here. In January, she was awarded the Hall of Fame recognition for the Florida Music Education Association. That's a big deal.
That's
She
a
is
really
a
big
past
deal.
president, and we owe so much to her.
Thank you, thank you. And our last presentation tonight is to recognize the CTE Students of the Year Award. Would Tripp Jennings, Assistant Director, CTE K-12, please approach the podium to begin this presentation? Tripp?
Great, thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Asplin. Again, I'm Tripp Jennings. I'm the Assistant Director for Career and Technical Education for our school district. As Dr. Asplin explained at last month's meeting, February is National Career and Technical Education Month, or CTE Month. Across the nation, we celebrate the value of CTE and the achievements of its students and programs. I highly suggest you visit our CTE Twitter page for tons of CTE content and happenings that were posted throughout February, before February, and after February. Just a little shout out, last week was the Technology Student Association, or TSA, state competition. We had 3 high schools and 3 middle schools participate, 125 students total. Out of that, we had 4 first places, 6 second places, and 5 third places, and that's at the state. Yeah, very good. State rankings, high school, Northport High School is now 9th in the state in TSA. So congrats, Northport High. McIntosh Middle School is 9th in the state, and Sarasota Middle School is 6th in the state. So way to go for those 2 middle schools. So during the month of February, we collected nominations, and 18 students, 1 from each public middle and high school and Suncoast Technical College, were selected for this honor that ranged from grades 7 through 12. Congrats, everybody. These 18 students represent 10 different CTE pathways. These 18 students have collectively earned 32 industry certifications. That's almost 2 apiece. 8 of these students are or have served as Career and Technical Student Organization Officers, CTSOs. Those are your FBLA, Skills USA, Future Farmers of America. So we have 8 officers. How many discipline referrals among this group? 0. Their cumulative unweighted GPA is 3.9, and their weighted GPA is 4.6. Some of their career aspirations include forensics, animal science, a pastry chef, aerospace engineer, mechanical engineer, a digital artist, a therapist, and a teacher. Each student will receive a certificate and a plaque, like this one, which were all designed and engraved by other CTE students. As I read their names, I'm going to ask the students to come up to the center so that we can get a photo. But the first student I'm going to invite up, I asked to say a few words about her CTE experiences. Milana Ivanenko is a senior at Venice High School in the computer science and engineering CTE programs. So come on up.
Hi. Okay. I'm Alana Ivanenko, and I'm a senior at Venice High School. I just wanted to thank Tripp and the Sarasota County School Board for this amazing honor. I feel privileged to represent all the CTE students at Venice High School as Student of the Year. The CTE pathway has enabled me to earn my SolidWorks, Revit, pre-engineering, and JavaScript certification. I strongly believe the career and technology courses I have taken will equip me with the qualities of a successful employee. I have been exposed to career-specific content that provides me with an advantage amongst other candidates for my future endeavors. I'm enrolled in the International Baccalaureate Engineering Career Program at Venice High, where I'm currently taking AP Computer Science and have completed the drafting and engineering courses. After high school, I will attend the University of Florida and study chemical engineering. The skills that I have acquired from these classes will ensure my future successes of the workforce. Thank you.
All right. Deb Berman and Kyle Holbrook are my two specialists. The three of us make up your CTE department for the district. So I'm going to ask my specialists to kind of help guide our students in the right spot for our photo ops. Jenna Logan, 12th grade, Booker High School, Criminal Justice. Jonathan Vasquez, Booker Middle School, AV Production. Alex Doherty, Brookside Middle, Engineering. Tanisha Dada, Heron Creek Middle, IT. Brody Lapine, Laurel Nokomis, Engineering. Bryce Eller, McIntosh Middle, Engineering. Joni Evelsister, Northport High School, Early Childhood Ed. Thomas McLaughlin, Pineview, IT. I think your sister was excited to see your face on the screen there. Ifan Lisa Zhang, Pineview, Engineering. Rowan Lunt, Riverview High, Digital Media and Computer Science. Catherine Schmitz, Sarasota High, Food Science. Annie Rex, Sarasota Middle, Engineering and Computer Science. Allison Carcio, Suncoast Polytech, Engineering. Emily Tula Ledesma, Suncoast Technical College Main Campus, Culinary Arts. David Prozapa, Suncoast Technical College Northport Campus, Carpentry. Connor Tolley, Venice Middle School, Engineering. And we already mentioned Milana. Mackenzie Walker, Woodland Middle, Engineering. All right, let's get a picture. Two lines, maybe? All right, you guys come forward. You're now row one. Come this way a little bit. And then you all just come in behind me. Go this way. All the way down. Everybody come back towards the day. All the way back towards the day. Move that way. Everybody take 2 steps back. 2 big steps. Bigger. The plaques we have for y'all, if you meet Mr. Holbrook out in the hallway, he'll give your plaque and your certificate. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. This was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Give everybody a chance to get out. Oh, Mrs. Brown wishes to speak. I'm sorry, I did not see that, Mrs. Brown.
That's okay. Well, maybe they can hear me out there, but I just wanted to shout out to Tripp and all of our people involved in our technical programs. I mean, some of us remember back when it was Sarasota Votech over there, and then it was SCTI, and I remember in the mid 2000s we invested and rebuilt that school, and then later on we built an extension down in Northport, and this is why the kinds of programs and the kinds of students that are going for this. This is not your father's VOTEC program. You know, we are getting these kids ready for careers that are out there, that are there today. I mean, we've got from food service to mechanical engineering to computer sciences. I'm just so proud of what we're doing in our technical education department, and thank you, Tripp, for being here tonight.
Well, I think it was wonderful, and I think the recognition is so vitally apparent when you think of all of the new opportunities these students have that we did not have, several years ago. I'll just say several. But I can remember going through school, and we had a distributive ed program and a vote tech, as you said, but a vocational technical, and people would go out and work for a half a day, and then they'd be in the classroom, and they got the experience working somewhere. They didn't get it in a classroom setting because there really wasn't money for that, and that was the short end of the stick every year in the budget. So it's really wonderful and remarkable to see these students achieving so much in the middle school and going forward, because we know that they're going to do great things. Next up, we have our superintendent's report, Dr. Asplin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that. And I do also want to say thank you to all of those who were here this evening performing, and the accolades that were given. We are very, very proud of our students. They are so talented, and the fact that they work during the day in their academic classes and at home in their homework, and some of them have jobs and so forth, but they still take out time to be involved in other activities. As you saw tonight, they are very talented youngsters, and we are just so very proud of them. I also want to say congratulations to those schools that are PBIS schools. That is a very difficult award to receive, and we have, I believe it was 33 across our school district, which is amazing. I think someone said we were number 4 in the state. And I'm not surprised, because it is, you will not find that across any other district. So again, congratulations to them, and congratulations to our students. A couple of other items just to mention. First of all, the 4th annual Gulf Coast World Language Conference was this past Saturday. And what's unique about that conference is that it's teachers helping teachers. And our teachers took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and actually organized this. And as I just said, it's the 4th annual. And so I just want to say how proud I am of our teachers. And I want to name those folks who were involved in that. The conference committee that was responsible for the work were, let's see, the Teacher of the Year, Lori Urquiza from Booker High School, Karen Zaremba from McIntosh Middle, Alina Cordovez from Booker High School, Anna Trigo, Student Leadership Academy, Elizabeth Abreu from the Sarasota Military Academy, and Wanda Calderon from Suncoast Polytech High School. The theme of the conference this year was Innovation in the World Language Classroom Through Culture. And the participants were able to learn new ideas, to engage students in the classroom and share their experiences with other educators. And in addition to our local teachers, there were participants who joined from all around the United States, and including a few from other countries. So again, hats off to those teachers for organizing this, and to our teachers who attended this in this World Language Classroom Through Culture. So we're so very proud of them. Also, just to bring to your attention, out at Riverview High School, speaking of CTE, at Riverview High School, we're starting the Trades Academy, as you've heard many, many times. And what I found out last night, actually, at the Builders Exchange, was that we have now exceeded enrollment, and we have a waiting list for this program. And so it's absolutely amazing. I think the principal out there, Aaron Del Castillo, has done a great job, along with others who have helped, including our business partners, our tradesmen business partners, who have really stepped up to help us with this. I know Tom Edwards also has helped quite a bit get this Trades Academy started, and we're just really looking forward to it, and also replicating it across other high schools throughout our school district. So it's a great opportunity for our students, and we're just looking forward for that to grow. Also, today was this week, Read Across America Week, and today at Tatum Ridge, we read to the elementary students. There were a few board members I know who were there this morning, and I just want to say thank you to Principal Dunn for a job well done. They did a great job. It looks like we had a volunteer reader for every single classroom, and we all went out around 8:30 and read in our classrooms, and the students were just wonderful. And I know I've said it before, if you're ever having a bad day, just go to an elementary school and you will love it. You know, the students there just love to see the visitors, and they love to talk to you, and they were really great this morning as we read to them. And then tomorrow, actually, Tuttle Elementary will continue Read America Week. And at lunchtime, we'll have readers out there at Tuttle Elementary. And I think we're doing the on-the-move video there tomorrow as well, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the items that I have for tonight. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Asplin. Next up, we have the hearing citizens. Mr. Edwards, do you have the cards? I do. And I will read preceding, calling those people forward. Good evening, everyone. At this point in the meeting, we're going to hear from citizens wishing to speak who have completely filled out and submitted a citizen's card. If your full name is not written on the card or you have failed to complete and sign the card, your name will not be called. Please speak to the board, not to the audience. Furthermore, speakers addressing the school board shall not make remarks which are irrelevant to the business of the school board or which are abusive, threatening, defamatory, obscene, profane, or otherwise of a disorderly nature. As such, it is not a forum for attacking individual employees or school board members. Any such complaints should be submitted in writing to the superintendent. It is unlawful to disrupt or interfere with a school board meeting, and any such action may result in a misdemeanor or offense of the second degree at the discretion of the presiding officer pursuant to Florida Statute 1001.372(3), which for purposes of public comment tonight is me. Any individual who interferes with the expeditious or orderly process of this meeting will be removed. This is a business meeting of the school board, and the public expects that we conduct it in an orderly, efficient, effective, and dignified manner. We humbly ask that you act as you were taught as a child, be respectful of others, and treat them as you want to be treated. Finally, as public servants elected by the people of this county, we will listen with open minds and open hearts to your comments. We respect your First Amendment rights to freedom of speech, and as a citizen of this great county, or this great country, we must understand that your rights are not absolute. So you are free to speak your mind, but you cannot defame an individual or yell fire in a crowded theater. With rights comes responsibilities. And so we begin. Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll call 3 names to begin with, and then make sure when you get up to the podium that you state your name clearly. We'll call you, and there'll always be 2 people on deck. Rana Bazzini, Sandy Armstrong, Melissa Radovich.
Good evening. My name is Rana Bazzini, and I'm a citizen of Sarasota, a resident, I meant to say. And welcome to everyone on the board. I am not on social media. The plus side is I am not aware of all that goes on there. The minus side is that I am not aware of all that goes on there. However, I am aware of what goes on at school board meetings. That seems to have precipitated the proposed changes. I'm sorry that was even necessary, but it's the world we live in. Many of the changes seem perfectly reasonable. As time is limited, I'll just address those that I have an issue with. the 2 minutes per speaker, and the 1 hour limit in general. I think these play to the perception the board is hampering free speech and is dictatorial. Contentious issues will always arise, and this may lead to protracted hearing of citizens' time. We need to deal with it, not run away from it. Also, another issue, the comment regarding appropriate clothing could be perceived as condescending or offensive. We live in different times. Rules of decorum have, to some of us, mostly we elderly, that seem to have deteriorated, but this is not true of everyone. I hope you will consider making these suggested changes. And a brief comment, if you will, regarding parents' rights. Please don't think of parents as monolithic. We have the 1950s iteration, mother, father, 4 children, a dog, and a station wagon, to the single parent who is facing homelessness and everything in between. Parents are not monolithic. Please be sensitive to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Cottrell.
I'm Sandy Armstrong. I want to say, first of all, thank you to the superintendent and to the school board for all you try to do to juggle this to be a great school district. And I've enjoyed coming to the meetings before this and seeing all the wonderful things the students are doing. There are 2 bills right now that concern me. One is the Stop Woke Act, HB 7, SB 148, excuse me. That would censor discussions about racism, discrimination, injustice by allowing one to sue if there's discomfort with these discussions. I'm very concerned about that. The other is Don't Say Gay Bill, HB 1557, SB 1834. That prohibits classroom discussion about gender identity in certain grade levels. One of my concerns is if it's okay to, or not okay, to talk about gender identity. Maybe a little girl has 2 moms or 2 dads, and then she's not going to be allowed to talk about that in the 2nd or 3rd grade when you want to draw pictures of your family. That's not okay. But if she's uncomfortable, that's somehow all right to have the little LGBTQ, questioning is the Q, students be uncomfortable. That's okay. They don't get to sue, they don't get anything. They just get to feel bad about who they are or who they believe they're becoming or who their family is. I'm worried that we really, really need our schools to find a way to get through this and to let children be who they are and who their families are in school. And in terms of the Stop Woke Act, I think that we just need to learn true history and how somebody feels about something. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. That can be important, but it's not about suing. 70% of LGBTQ kids reported feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness in a 1918 Human Rights Council survey. 67% said they had heard family members make anti-LGBTQ statements. 26% reported always feeling safe at school, only 26%. And, you know, we talked about STEAM, respect, care, and our Wilkinson, our student, talked about how we reach out and care about other people. Somehow, we have to figure out a way to do that in our schools and in this room. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ashton Bowdry.
Hello, Melissa Radovich. I've never been to a board meeting with ballerinas and rappers, but here we are. I'm just hoping that there's time for a show as well as the hearing of citizens. I'd like to open by stating that the School Board Policy 9.20 states that The school board recognizes that effective communication plays a vital role in student achievement. Open communication creates a climate of mutual understanding and cooperation among all stakeholders. This cooperation creates a better learning environment and additional support for students. With that said, I organized an event at the Hollow for parents to speak with the school board member. The event allowed many ESE parents to come and ask questions. They needed help, and we offered that opportunity for them. Probably 90% of the parents in attendance had questions on why the schools were failing their ESE students. This event has been twisted and aimed to appear as some type of far-right political nonsense. The school board member who came to speak with parents, she never asked, hey, what are the political views of the parents coming or the parents organizing the event? She simply showed up at an event to speak with concerned parents. My question is, would certain board members ignore parents if their political beliefs don't align? Or maybe they would just simply restrict their speech. It's sad that some of you are making the school board political, and it's unbelievable the way you attack fellow school board members. It's sad. Mr. Edwards, thank you.
Thank you. Do not clap, please. No clapping.
Robin Williams.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Cottrell. I'd like to read something, and we all know why I'm here, I'm sure. Bullying refers to an aggressive behavior that is repetitive, intentional, in which power differential exists between the victim and the bully. The negative effects of bullying can be individuals' mental and physical health are substantial and in line with other major forms of child maltreatment. There are various types of bullying: verbal bullying, teasing, name-calling, inappropriate sexual comments, taunting, threatening; social bullying, leaving someone out, telling other children not to be friends with, spreading rumors of somebody, embarrassing someone in public. Physical bullying involves hurting a person's body or possessions, hitting, kicking, spitting, tripping, pushing, making a person, or taking and breaking someone's things. I was originally coming here because I thought that this type of conversation would be very easy to have with the board members, that everybody would understand whether this definition fits the school board policies, anti-bullying definition, or the state's. It doesn't matter. We know the behavior is inappropriate and not tolerable, and it has lasting effects on the children that are victims. And so I'm sitting here thinking today, I thought, well, you know, school board members are reasonable. We can sit down and have this discussion. They can put themselves in these children's shoes and wonder how it feels to be on that receiving end and nothing ever being done. That when you can have the same kid bullying more than one child, and when they're bullying 5 and 6 children and nothing is done, you've got a repeat offender there, and obviously nothing, whatever consequences are being dished out aren't good enough because they continue to go down the line. When does the behavior stop? And I thought, well, school board members can understand this, you know, think about the children. How does that make you feel? But then I'm reminded, it dawns on me, I've sat and watched many of workshops, and the same behavior goes here. We bully one another, we taunt one another. It's unacceptable. I sat and watched a video today, which I probably shouldn't have, of an event that took place a couple weeks ago at a Democratic Party event. And instead of everybody focusing on what are we doing for our children's education, it's better to go back and forth and beat a dead horse and keep commenting on other board members. I mean, where does it end? I mean, we're all adults. We're supposed to teach our children that this behavior is not acceptable, but we do it here. We do it in the public. We should be out there bringing the community together, not fully dividing it. Don't beat a dead horse. The horse is dead, bury it. Let's move on. Unite each other. Let's not keep digging up the past. We're not showing our children anything. These other kids are sitting there, they watch it. If it's acceptable by adults, they think that it's acceptable to them. I've got a child that suffers from seizures now because of this. I hope you guys really consider it.
Thank you.
Allison Euchre.
Hello, my name is Ashton Beaudry. I just wanted to say that I am opposed to limiting the speech of stakeholders. I'm not sure that this district is making decisions that will unite us as a community, and I wonder what the purpose of this is. Either you want to cause further division, or you are lazy and you want to get paid without putting in the work. You get paid more than the teachers in our district, yet you only are required to show up here 4 times a month. The least you can do is respect the stakeholders and leave this be. The board talks about leaving politics out of this, but it seems like a political move to silencing those whose opinions you do not agree with. Apparently, it's okay for certain board members to go speak at Democratic committee meetings. Interesting enough, we learned that this board member was the one who decided that the positivity rate had to be at 8% in order for the mask mandate to end for our children. He said he would have rather picked 2%, but he met us in the middle at 8%. He also went ahead and used it as a platform to mock other board members and their small children. Is that acceptable behavior for the children in our community to see? This district creates all sorts of anti-bullying and equity committees to combat this. Yet we have a sitting board member who exhibits this exact behavior that has been complained about. While we were on the subject, I saw that this board member was at the anti-parents' rights rally at the Ringling Bridge over the weekend, but his husband was noticeably absent. Could he be that he was at another rally in Miami with Antifa, doxing Patriot Trucker convoy members? At the same meeting, Tom made mention multiple times of a 5-to-1 vote. Did Tom say the quiet part out loud? Is Dan DeLeo the 6th acting board member? I thought that I was just a conspiracy theorist back in November, but thank you for confirming that I'm not, Tom. I remember how much Shirley and her husband loved having us at her home in September. If all you wanted is to have us over again, you should have just asked us. But if you vote yes, we'll be back.
Thank you. Do not clap.
Lisa, sure.
Robin Williams. Black History Month just ended, and we begin Women's
I'm
History
sorry,
Month.
I can't hear you. Could you get closer to the microphone, please, ma'am? Maybe it's,
Start over. Can I start over?
yes, ma'am.
Black History Month just ended, and we begin Women's History Month. What a great way to transition in this exciting time. As the first Black woman justice, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is nominated to serve on our Supreme Court. What an important moment for young girls, especially young girls of color in our country, state, and county, to see that they can grow up and become educated to attain such important leadership positions in our nation. I want to express my concern about the 2-minute time limit. I find it difficult to express an opinion in 3 minutes, let alone 2. I think freedom of expression is vital to our democracy. There are rules for maintaining order, and they just need to be enforced. If our security doesn't restore order in a timely manner, they need to be taken to task for any failure. March 8th is the last day to vote on the referenda. Please urge your friends to vote yes to adequately fund our schools. Our arts programs will be gutted without its passage. My son got his artistic start in public school classes. He is a professional sculptor. Art is how humanity expresses itself, and it's a vital part of education, as we saw here tonight. Please also urge your friends to vote no on the charter amendment. As a result of a citizens' initiative in 2018, almost 60% of voters supported single-member districts. When our students learn about civics in school, they learn that only voters in a congressional district, state representative, or state senatorial district get to vote for someone to represent them. It wouldn't be fair for someone who lives in another district to elect their representative, especially in partisan races. The same holds true for county commissioner seats. It also makes it unaffordable for regular citizens to successfully run for office, and only those who have been bought and paid for by big money interests can have the financial wherewithal in a large populous county like Sarasota to win. It's no accident that dark money PACs have poured six-figure sums into the misleadingly worded question 2, which makes it sound like you'd be losing your vote if you didn't support the change. In fact, keeping single-member districts means voters should be able to vote for someone from their own district to represent them without being outvoted by people who don't live there. Vote no and save single-member districts. And on the state legislative front, say no to the governor's fascistic won't and don't say gay bill. Do say gay. Thank you.
Winter Rayoni.
Hi, my name is Allison Euchre. I'm a recent Sarasota County resident. I just moved here less than a year ago, so this is my first opportunity to speak in front of the board. But I've been watching you guys a long time, before I moved here, in fact. And I wanted to just reiterate something to you. You all have a trust issue with your community, and it is alarming. It is, I watch these beautiful children here perform before this board, before the community, and think, wow, this is just an amazing place to be. But I watch this distrust in this board continue to amplify, and there is a major issue. It needs to be fixed. I think you all received my email a couple of weeks ago, just kind of talking about this distrust when some news article came out about 2,200 medical documents being released to the press. Redact it, it's fine. No kids' information was there. It's not fine. And I called to the attorney that was specifically mentioned in my email saying that this was part of the Sunshine Law. This wasn't public information. These are children. And this was an obvious attempt to dox medical professionals as part of this, this article in order to shame them for parents who were so desperate to get these masks off these kids. Where does it stop? Where does it stop? Back in August, when I came here just a few months before to escape that type of environment, to escape putting a mask on my kid, almost 2,000 miles I moved to get here. I want you to understand the gravity of masking children and the desperation that these parents had to go through. Our children's medical information should never be given to the press, ever, ever. So I'm making a request of my own.
You've been warned, okay?
I'm making a request of my own, based on the Sunshine Laws. I'm requesting information of all the emails, texts, communication between the board members, council, staff, whatever is related to the legality of these mask mandates, and I'm holding you accountable. I'm holding you accountable for breaking the law, breaking judicial stays, for going against the governor's orders, to enforcing these children to stay home from school because their parents did not want to wear a mask. Those were our parental rights that you decided to take away from us. This board has acted irresponsibly, and I want to know when the 3 board members who forced not only this budget cut that's coming along, but to mask our kids will resign.
Thank you.
Melissa Bakandi.
My name is Lisa Schur. I have a student in the district. I support public schools, and I also stand with Jennifer Cottrell. Today, the board will take a vote regarding changes to policy number 2.22 related to board meetings. I am strongly opposed to the changes being proposed, in particular, the limitations on the number of persons who will be permitted to speak on agenda items and the limitation of time allotted to each speaker of only 2 minutes. While I often may not agree with the subject matter or tone of speakers with views opposing my own, I will fight to the death for their right to make those statements. This right exists regardless of what anyone may wish to say or what any of you may wish to hear. Further, I see no reason to separate out the agenda and non-agenda items into before and after the meeting. Many, if not most parents, work full-time jobs and are sacrificing their personal family time to be here in order to advocate. That was to be the end of what I had to say tonight, but I've heard so much that I feel the need to respond to some of the things that were said. There are 5 board members up here, 3 on one side, 2 on the other side. It's not a one-way issue. 2 of these board members have done things that I, as a citizen and as a mother, resent. And that is giving life to bills and supporting things like Proud Boys, anti-woke, don't say gay. These things affect me personally as a mother. So this is a two-way street, and we've had it. We've had it with all of you.
Thank you.
Michelle Pazzi.
Is it time? Green lights?
Go right ahead.
Oh, you don't do the green lights
Yes,
anymore.
ma'am.
My name is Winter Renoni. You might not know who I am, but I know all of you. I have came to speak before in the beginning of the masking of our children. I've been watching from the sidelines this whole time. I always do this. I can't stand this shit. Always taking notes. I am not a very vocal person, if you can tell, but I'm trying to be vocal today. The choices I have seen this board make over the time I've been watching you, you have had an uprising of parents to dig deep in all the stuff y'all are doing. And we have found the corruption in the counties and in the city, in the boards, and we are not going to do this anymore with you. We aren't going away. We want the truth. We want justice. We want freedom from this bondage that you're doing. I don't believe that your board knows what you started. Making these deals and putting forth these unjust policies, maybe you're too deep in it. You don't understand what you've done. Mistakes happen. It's okay. Mistakes happen. Doesn't mean that you can't show us today that you're going to make the right decisions and do what's best for the people and their children, right? Come on now. Because I want to vote for 3 minutes, more minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. Let them talk. You give the time. Get your time. Everybody gets their time. Give us our 3. Don't take it away. Be respectful. Come with us. Jump on our side. You can get rid of all the shit that y'all did. You know? You can say, no, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to actually take that back. I'm going to be on the right side because guess what? God's going to watch you one day. And he's not going to be able, you can't take your money with you. You know, you can't take that money. So just come on, jump on the right side, and let's be done.
Thank you.
Teresa DeWitt.
Melissa Bacondi, board members, Dr. Asplin. The sirens are going off in Ukraine as the Russian communists are invading. Guess what? These 3 school board members, Shirley, Jane, and Tom, are acting like communists and invading our school. Their leader is none other than Dr. Harriet Moore from the BLM Supporting Equity Committee, and their puppet is none other than Superintendent Asplin, who understands he either complies with the communist orders or his job will be terminated and he will no longer afford his waterfront condo or maintain his wife's job in the school district. The sirens are going off, the bombs are dropping. Parents, it is time to put your foot down against this tyranny. The school board is trying to limit our public comment because they can't handle the truth. You can try to silence us, but you will not succeed. Parents, if these school board members don't want to listen to you at the public school board meeting, perhaps they should invite us into their own homes. Communists don't believe in private property anyways, right? The school board oversees a $1 billion budget. No wonder they don't want public input. They don't want their kickbacks and their pet projects being exposed, like Jane's alleged $8,000 referendum kickback, like Jane's love affair with more expensive Neola. Do you think these people are voting yes on items because they believe it's the right thing to do or because it benefits them somehow? These 3 lawbreakers cost our school district $12 million in fines mandating masks for our children, and yet Shirley was caught multiple times without a mask. They appear to hate parents who got the mask exemption. In fact, they dislike it so much that they allowed and maybe orchestrated a convicted felon to request your child's mask exemption paperwork and apparently leak it to the media. That's right, your child's personal medical information was leaked to the news. And Dr. Asplin's explanation for it was he was afraid of a lawsuit. Yet Dr. Asplin is busy trying to clear people's names regarding the DJ case, when really the judge's final order mentions multiple allegations of systemic corruption in the Sarasota County school system. This lawsuit cost the district hundreds of thousands of dollars, and guess what? The chief of the Sarasota County School Board Police says he cannot investigate his bosses, including the school board members and the superintendent himself. Let me repeat that. The school board police chief will not investigate his boss. Where is the accountability? No wonder you want to silence the public. The swamp gets deeper and deeper. Let me be clear. Everyone wants money for their kids' education. The sad reality is that if you pass this referendum, the money won't go to teachers or students. It will go to Jane's pet projects without bids, millions on construction change orders, LGBTQ indoctrination, and Dr. Harriet Moore BLM committee, and exploding legal fees. How much money do you think we've spent on Schumacher Loop's paycheck in the last 6 months? Over $780,000 just on Schumacher and Loop. Check your budget, people. Parents, instead of paying this communist school board millions of dollars on new referendum taxes, vote no and give that money to a teacher you know personally. Friends, these communists are here. They are invading our school and they are indoctrinating your children.
John Wilson.
That's nice that you just said she's disgusting. I heard that. So, yeah, Michelle Posey, District 3. So there's some smoke coming off the microphone, Melissa. Thank you very much for that. I'm here to talk about House Bill 1557 because I noticed that one of our board members took it upon himself to join a rally, which is your total right, for the Don't Say Gay bill. And I thought, for me, it's actually kind of also the Don't Say Straight bill. It's the why are we talking about sexuality to precious young minds bill. Or what I also like to refer to is, how about we work on literacy and ESE improvements and leave the inappropriate discussions for a later time in life bill. So you're not being accurate. We don't want to talk about sex, sexuality, or gender identity to children in elementary school. What don't you get about that? Does that not make anybody else's skin crawl? 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. When I was growing up, that was called redirecting. Little Johnny, please remove your hands from wherever they're at, go wash them, and we're gonna do this other activity. Now all of a sudden, everybody is borderline grooming, trying to talk about inappropriate activities, inappropriate things at a time when they can't handle it. Let me explain something. If you want to stop depression, anxiety, suicide rates in our young people, then maybe stop crushing them with the pressure of things that they are not equipped to handle. The human brain is not even fully developed for critical thinking until age 25. 25. You don't give the keys to your Lexus to a 4-year-old. Why? Because they're not ready for it. This is not something new, people. Don't turn this into a political debate. You don't have a voting age of 18 and a drinking age of 21 if you don't fundamentally understand that some people are not ready to have to deal with these topics. Do not talk to people under the age of 18, in my opinion, about sex, sexual identity, and gender without the permission and the express consent of their parent or guardian. You want to know why? Because the Florida bills already say, sorry, I don't have the exact bill, that the age of consent is 18 years old. So unless you want to be known as a pedophile and a groomer, which I will gladly call you out for, understand HB 1557 means don't be gross to our kids. And also, thank you for cutting our times down to 2 minutes today. Apparently that's not the board business, but being at a luncheon all afternoon at the Longboat Key lunch, Democratic Party, shake our hands and congratulate ourselves of being masters of the world is something you have time for. We've got it on video. And some of the things you said were absolutely disgusting. We don't need public comment time here. We just need to hand you a microphone. You are sealing your fate in 2024.
You are getting 3 minutes tonight. Everyone got 3 minutes.
Angela Wynn.
I'm getting 3, right? Yes, I know. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I'd like to start with some positive programs that the district has implemented. The CHAMPS program focuses on behavior.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name?
Teresa DeWitt. The CHAMPS program focuses on behavior. For example, when the child is triggered, staff intervenes to assist child to reflect his behavior. There are steps of intervention for child, staff, and parent to work through. I have also looked at the multi-tier system, which is more for academics. For example, if a child is struggling, the teacher activates the tier program. She evaluates and then implements a creative intervention. The child has 3 levels of assistance before any intervention, or before any ESC or possibly any unnecessary evals are conducted. A side note, Dr. Asplin, these intervention programs are not in the parent's handbook. Parents need to know about these programs. Each program requires mandatory parent signatures. These are great interventions and they need to know about them, especially new parents. But however, one of my concerns is the reading scores and exhaustion of teachers. We were told at Christmas we could start assisting the teachers in the classrooms. When we came back from Christmas, some schools allowed it, some didn't. I don't know when this decision was made. I don't know if it's official. But if it's official, I would like for the board and Dr. Asplin to pull this decision down and allow parents to help. We are ready to help our children and teachers. COVID cannot continue to be the reason. If this is true, I would ask for the district to get creative. Reading is foundational. Children's mental health is directly affected by not being able to read. So today, we are activating Project Heels on the Ground. Moms, dads, teachers, and community are activating. They will apply through the district for background, call the principal, and then would like to be assigned to any reading needs. These are the district steps. We are also providing 1 to 2 minute videos by your teachers. They're going to be uploaded to YouTube so new parents can access those. We are going to mobilize weekend reading groups so parents who have difficulty volunteering, they can do that on the weekend. We are going to connect volunteers and parents through Zooms to accommodate the parents' schedule. We have moms, dads, grandparents who want to assist our children. We also have the post office staff who want to volunteer. Veterans Affairs has requested a meeting to volunteer. These are some great role models for our children. We hope the district realizes our children need help, the teachers need help, our schools need help. Everyone in this room can participate. We will be implementing this in 2 weeks. Project Heels on the Ground will bring scores up. This project is going forward. Parents can no longer be kept out of their children's academic journey. I hope the school will partner with this project. Dr. Asplin, I will be sending you details at the end of the week. Also, too, I don't know how much time I have, but I'll try. I missed the pledge because I was sick. I was not able to come. So I wanted to share with you the pledge that I've taken. I, Teresa DeWitt, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really? You're going to cut...
Thank you.
Alexis Spiegelman.
John Wilson. Okay, so I've been coming to these school board meetings for almost 2 years now. And I'll tell you exactly why you want my time limit. Did you know tonight many of the schools that were honored here have less than 50% of their kids on level for reading? That is it right there. The purpose to limit my time because you want to suppress the truth. That doesn't shine favorable on the district or where the improvements really need to be made. All the schools with, we'll go to all the schools with the low reading scores are all in the low income neighborhoods. So what I do see in this district is haves and have-nots. That's exactly what I see. So I think if we're going to start with equity in this district, let's start with pooling all the elementary schools' PTO money, middle school, and then split it up equally between all the schools. Let's start with that equity. That can make a change immediately. Now the other thing is, and I found out that embracing illiteracy is taking over reading recovery. We know that reading recovery doesn't work, but we're going to keep funneling it anyway. Anyone that aligns with BLM doesn't need to be in our school district, period. We have one BLM member on a committee. One is more than enough. the good thing is I will keep pushing. I will keep pushing here for all of the kids to get a fair shake, whether you're gifted, the arts, all these kids are going to read, even the little kids that don't live in the right neighborhoods, the kids that their playground isn't open on the weekends, but Southside is. Why is that? Maybe the median income is a lot higher there. But I don't see Gosio open. I don't see Brentwood. I don't see Tuttle.
Thank you.
Carol Lerner.
Angela Wynn. Last month, I signed a pledge to support Sarasota Public Schools. I signed this pledge because I was upset about the vitriol and hate dominating Sarasota School Board meetings, frightening teachers and upsetting many parents and students. I see the pledge as one way to help bring civility and respect for one another back into school board meetings and hopefully into our community as a whole. I've been attending school board meetings for quite some time now, so I understand the distress of board members who are hoping that a change in rules will help improve the current climate of these meetings. That being said, I strongly disagree that shortening the time allotted for the hearing of the citizens will be the best way to maintain a sense of homeostasis in our meetings. In fact, in the end, I fear that it will indeed backfire. I believe in full freedom of speech. Whether your opinion agrees with mine or not, we all deserve the right to be heard. Lowering the time limit to 2 minutes reduces our ability to exercise this right and hinders our ability to express an opinion coherently. I'm also concerned that limiting commentary to agenda items precludes the ability to discuss the topic at an earlier stage of development, where community input is important and can positively affect the outcome. I believe it would be better to allow comment on a topic presented at an earlier workshop while the vote is pending, as well as an item on the board agenda. I want to also speak on the two-part referendum coming up that is pivotal to our educational system. This is up for a vote next Tuesday, March 8th. I will address question 2 on the referendum first, as it is confusingly entitled Charter Referendum. We must vote no on this referendum that seeks to overturn the single-member districts. Single-member districts were approved by over 60% of the population in 2018. We each have our own county commissioner who is accountable to the specific area in which we live. Sarasota County has grown geographically in order to encompass a varied population and environment. The needs and issues vary greatly from north to south and west to east. Those living in Newtown, Northport, or Siesta Key have very different perspectives. These perspectives and needs should be addressed by someone who lives in those areas and understands them. If this measure is approved, voting for our own specific county's commissioner will be taken away from us. Having a commissioner that reflects the needs of their specific area is a logical goal, and as such, we must vote no on question 2 and keep single-member districts. The first question on the ballot concerns the funding of Sarasota schools. Every 4 years, registered voters are asked to approve a continuing 1 mil property tax. Let me reiterate, this tax is already in place. Voters are being asked to keep it in place, not institute it. We must vote yes. If we don't, teachers' salaries will be cut, art programs will be lost, students will lose an entire year from their K-12 school career, individual needs of children will not be addressed, and the list goes on. Our democracy depends upon well-educated children, and we need the continued funding this tax brings in to do so. Please vote yes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Alexis Spiegelman. I'm the Sarasota County Chapter Chair of Moms for Liberty. We've heard the board say several times that we need to get politics out of our schools. However, I would like to address some comments made by board member Tom Edwards as he addressed the Democrat Club of Longboat Key luncheon. In a speech made before introducing 3 school board candidates of his choice, Mr. Edwards said, and I quote, "My election really kept the stronghold of the Democrat seats on the school board, and it's important that we do that again." Mr. Edwards then declared to the group, "As Democrats, you can take some victory laps for the type of work that's being done at the school board, and some of it through the work I've actually done.
Aren't school boards supposed to be nonpartisan? Later in the presentation, Edwards made comments about how he crafts his messaging from the dais. He said, "I pick and choose my words on the dais very carefully. The reality is, if I didn't have independents vote for me, if I didn't have some Republicans vote for me, well, you can connect the dots." And then he said, "I need to maintain those votes because I know we have 3 school board members right behind me that I need to get elected, and I need some of those voters to vote for them. So I choose my words very carefully." So here we are today discussing public comment, and yet another attempt by the leftist stronghold on the board to control the messaging. The policy being voted upon today is geared towards restricting the voice of dissenters. There are those on the board that are even going so far as to continuously direct the position of the cameras during public comment as a means to try and control the narrative and minimize opposing viewpoints. At the last meeting, I placed something with a Moms for Liberty logo on the podium, and the camera operator went so far as to move the camera while I was speaking to hide the logo on the podium. This is the type of thing you would expect in communist countries. It is un-American. Our school board members work for us, the taxpayers, and not just those with the deep pockets funding your special projects, as Edwards mentioned during his speech. Last week, Moms for Liberty members from across Florida filled the state capitol courtyard before watching 2 of the bills on our legislative agenda pass the Florida House. So while some of our members brag about flying under the radar in defiance of our governor, Moms for Liberty members are working with state legislators to enact laws that will put an end to your subversion once and for all. Try as you may, we will not be silenced, we will not be shut down, and we will not stop until those who misuse their elected office are removed from any place of influence in our schools. Sarasota has had enough of the divisive radical left political agenda occupying seats on the majority of our school board. When you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to shut down. We see the manipulation tactics, and we raise you with an informed and empowered group of citizens who are dedicated to holding you accountable and defending parental rights at all levels of government.
Thank you.
Good evening. Carol Lerner, Protect Our Public Schools, Support Our Schools. I am here tonight to stand up for Sarasota County Schools once again. Tonight, I'd like to take issue about concerns I have about the school board policy 2.22. I fully understand the distress that many of the school board members have experienced over the past year and a half. Attacks, political posturing, vitriol. I get it, and I hate it too. I dislike that this environment has kept many parents and residents away from school board meetings, and it's one reason that I was part of creating the Take the Pledge campaign. But I don't want to I don't want the baby thrown out with the bathwater. I am speaking tonight to urge you to continue the 3 minutes of public commentary. Public commentary is where parents and residents of Sarasota can come together to offer feedback, reflections, and ideas of not only policy and current practices, but also of the vision of what Sarasota schools could be in the future. The problem with limiting the speaking time is that it forces people to speak even more in sound bites. And I also abhor a chipping away of freedom of speech. I have mixed feelings about keeping commentary to agenda items. I don't like the idea of having 2 periods. I also don't like the idea of having an arbitrary cutoff time. For the most part, it's generally about an hour, but there are some times when there are big issues where it should be longer. I don't like the idea of limiting the agenda item to the agenda of the evening. I would much prefer it go back to a workshop where it was raised, and even if that's many weeks or even months before, because I know sometimes it takes a while. But I think you need to hear citizens' input early in the game, not right before a vote is taken. The democratic process is never easy, and I agree there should be rules that are fairly and evenly enforced. To me, that has been the main problem. We have had rules, but all too frequently, these rules have not been enforced. And I think that's critical, enforcing rules and making sure that when an order is given, that officer implements that order. I would like to close my remarks by briefly addressing another democracy issue in our community that is on the ballot on March 8th. Here, democracy again is on the ballot.
Thank you.
That concludes hearing of citizens, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Next up, we'll return to our agenda. Are there any corrections, Dr. Asplin, to the consent agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. The February 15th board meeting minutes were added to item number 7, approval of minutes. Also, one addendum was added to item number 8, the instructional classified personnel report. And then also items number 25 and 26 are settlement agreements to be approved by the board.
Any other revisions? May I have a motion, please?
I move we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second? Any discussion? Please vote.
I need to refresh.
Is it working?
I have to refresh.
Here we go. Everyone get the voting up?
It's still not up on mine.
Waiting for Board Member Brown.
Up, now it came up. Thank you.
And the motion carries unanimously. Next up is our special new business. How about having a motion for item number 27, please?
I move the approval of the RISE School Board Policy 2.22 board meetings. Be approved as presented.
I'd like to make an amendment to that, if I may.
You're going to second?
I'll
Has the second before an
and then an amendment.
I would like to make an offer on why I'm approving this,
Hold.
moving it.
Let's start over. What did you say? You said you made a motion?
Made a motion, and I'd
For
like to
approval.
make a comment for it, because it's been approved. It's not been approved. It's been moved and seconded. Now we can go to comments, and I'd like to make a comment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'd like to approve this as presented, because we can't make any changes without putting it back out to the advertisement.
Right.
But I would like to, after we approve it, to bring it back to another workshop to look at the issue of the 3 minutes. I'd also like to talk about, we just say agenda items, but there might be agenda and upcoming business items we might want to address, maybe look at that. And then there was 2 other items that had been on a previous one where we asked, where in the agenda we referred parents if they had an issue with the thing that they don't have to wait for a school board meeting, they should take it up with their school or the superintendent, or a way that they could email comments to the board. These are some of the things that I think, but I'd like to take most of the things that we have all agreed on, or most of us have agreed on, and put that forward first so we don't have to discuss all of those items at the same time. So I'd like to approve this, and then rather than approve this or make changes to it, which would have to cause it to be re-advertised, to discuss it at a future workshop so that we've got the new language in front of us, because that was one of the problems we were having before, as the language was being changed rather than looking back to what the original language said. So I'd like to put this one forward, which brings our comment, our public comment, in line with what the sheets were saying, the cards were saying for the people, but I will happily bring it back up at a workshop to discuss it further.
So you're interested in approving it as it is revised and then discussing it at a later workshop?
To revise it, I would like to approve it as
revise
is, the
anything.
changes made as we've advertised them, and then discuss it at a future workshop, because I think if we tried to amend it at the board table, it would get confusing, and I think there's some things that we need to discuss more. And I know I don't have an amendment written out for the old way that we had the email comments and the referring parents. I don't have that language here, which I'd like to see incorporated in it. So I would like to amend it pass it as is, and then look at that 3 minutes at a future workshop.
Did you say something at that point, Mr. Edwards? I know I have a list of other people here, but I thought you had already said something, and I didn't have you down on the list to speak, but
So I thought the 3 minutes tonight went well. I did. We cleared out all of the good feeling of our students here this evening and why we're all here working hard for our young folks. So I'm willing to go along with Mrs. Brown's suggestion and pass it as is, and then revisit the 3-minute conversation, because I think that the layout of the bill of the policy makes sense to me. I've said that all along, and anyone that has emailed me about that, I've responded to their emails and said, emailing me is the best way. But instead, I think that most people really like to come up and stand here and, I guess, embarrass school board members, embarrass the superintendent. That must be more productive than engaging us personally in a conversation. But I think 3 minutes to do that is probably a good idea. So I will go along with what Mrs. Brown suggests and pass it in its format, and then we can discuss it at a workshop.
all right. Mrs. Rose?
I will not, I have not, and I will not support restricting parent comment or reducing it. I don't think this is the time to do so. In contrast to that, my recommendation would actually be to meet as a board in a forum and actually let the public, no matter their perspective, talk without any restrictions, to have an evening where we actually communicate with our public and we listen to them until they're done talking. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mrs. Ziegler?
Thank you. So I have a couple comments. Listening to, over the course of some time, there's a lot of discussion about division. I certainly know I feel it. I know members of this board feels it. I think members of the community feel it. But what I find so unique today is that this was one area where it seems that there is a lot more unifying on, no matter what it is, that their speech, no matter what they're saying, the right to petition your government is to be protected. And I think that's powerful, and I think it could be a really good place to start. Now, I'm going to be biased because I've since the beginning said that that's where I believe we need to be. But to my fellow board members, I think it does provide a very opportune moment for all of us to, again, listen to the community. And what a great place to do it when we're talking about public comment, and knowing that particular sentiment was shared by a very diverse set of viewpoints from that represent our community. Now, and so with that, I was going to suggest that we vote this down, because I hear the other board members mentioning their concerns about the 3 minute. I agree. I've never supported the limitation of it. In time, I think there's been really good. I'm very, very concerned about the hour limitation. I think there are a number of areas where I am concerned that would be weaponized. And I don't think that is any way place for us to build trust. My recommendation, instead of doing amendments, because again, I want to remind people, we have spent months on this. And while I think that it is important to have decorum, I think we're moving past that. Even if people have a variety of things to say, I think it has been illustrated that we can have orderly comments and hear from the public without limiting them. And so my recommendation was just to vote this down instead of making, voting one up and then coming back to another workshop where we could be talking about reading or looking about evaluating scores or looking about how we move our district forward in an academic sense. So to me, I just think there is a real opportunity for, again, using the public comment and the ability to hear all voices and all opinions. I highly recommend that we vote this down. We could make a change to the card so that it is lines up with that, as I know that was an issue, and I don't know that that would even require a policy advertisement. I think that would be merely procedural. So that's my recommendation. I will not be supporting this. There is one other item I wanted to highlight because I think it's really important as we talk about decorum and, whether or not people support the time change about rules being enforced. I agree. I say all the time that, we need to be consistent on how we execute any kind of policy. However, I want to make a point about the law enforcement, and I want to thank all of you for being here because what's so important is when a member of the public is not following the rules, whatever it may be, it is the chair, it is in the best interest of the board chambers to keep conduct and keep things orderly. And so my request to everyone and anyone who comes here is to respect that so that everyone can be heard and so that we don't have a disruptive board meeting. I think we've shown that. I also would say board members should not provoke our members of the public so that it maintains orderly. But I want to make a point to our officers and make it very clear to any members of the public and as well as the board, in the event that occurs, their job is de-escalation. Quickly ripping somebody out of the board chambers because they didn't follow X, Y, and Z rule would probably elevate and escalate things to a much more dangerous place. So I just want to make that point heard, and I want to thank all of you for your work because I know that it's not an easy situation, and I want to make sure that was clear. So I will wrap up with, I just would recommend that we vote this down in completion, fix the card, and start on a very positive moment forward, unifying our community.
Mrs. Brown.
We had some problems trying to enforce what was written on the cards because what was written on our cards and what we expected for public speaking was not in our policy. And our former chief of police asked us, well, I was the board at the time, to have those policies come in line with what it is we're printing on our cards. And I think the sooner we do that, the better. I agree with Ms. Rose that a lot of the public comment that we're getting isn't productive because it isn't a dialogue. And some of it is political. I mean, it's not necessarily political I don't think I've been throwing out political views from the school board. But I do stand up for our teachers, and I know that there are some bills that are going through the legislature right now that are making teachers uncomfortable, and that is something that is going to be decided in the legislature. We don't have control over that. If the legislature passes those, we're going to have to follow what comes out, unless, of course, it's overturned by the courts. So I think it was the second speaker tonight, Sandy Armstrong, and then a few others that talked about these bills.
We need to keep this short
plus and minus.
tight on this issue of this new piece of new business, please, Mrs. Brown. Let's not get into reinstituting all the speakers that came forward.
Well, and again, too, we talked about beating a dead horse, and I'm not sure who that was directed to. Was it the boards that was beating a dead horse, or is it the audience beating the dead horse? I mean, in name calling, in bullying, I mean, I was called a communist, a leftist. I mean, there were personal attacks for several of us. And, it's like, don't call me woke and I won't call you wackos. I mean, let's stop calling each other names. That goes two ways.
Yeah.
The public comment shouldn't be the time to call school board members names. I mean, it's not productive. We need to talk to our teachers.
We're going to tighten this up, but we're now on item number 27, And I am in favor of item number 27. I'm happy to bring it back and workshop it again to talk about time, but as you said, we have already voted on this. It's already been advertised, so I'm going to call the vote. And if anybody has anything else productive to say, that would be great. Otherwise, we all have opinions, and we all have differing opinions on this. I heard a lot of things tonight that were very helpful to me, and I heard a lot of things tonight that were not helpful. And I am in favor of this. I mean, if you look at the legislature right now, they're giving people under a minute to speak. And I think that's horrible. I think 2 minutes is a lot of time. So we will see what we will see, and I'm perfectly happy to bring it back and revise it later, but I think we vote on this now and vote it up and down, and however it falls, I'm okay with that. So please vote. If I can get my counter thing to work. And let me guess, the vote passes 3-2 with Mrs. Ziegler and Mrs. Rose dissenting. Nice job, Les. John, please, let's not have any discussion. You can discuss it later, but not now, please.
I move the adoption of item 28, the contract contract between the International Union of Police Association be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Please vote. I don't know what's happened. And the motion carries unanimously. Very good. Next item.
I move item 29, the approval of the salary schedules for the Sarasota County Police Bargaining Unit, an increase of $2 per hour, and that it be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And the motion carries unanimously. That ends new business. Anyone for an announcement or a discussion? Mrs. Rose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to recognize all the staff and the work that they're doing, and really appreciate everyone that came to the board meeting. It was extremely positive for me to see parents and students being recognized, and I very much I'm in favor of it and hope we continue it. And on the instructional piece and accountability piece, I do, again, I have been requesting it for quite a while with Dr. Asplin, and I want to formally and publicly request that we learn more about reading recovery. I'm consistently asked about it, and I do want to clarify that I have not been negative about reading recovery, but I have no data or no basis or no measurement as to what or how it's funded or what we're doing with it. So it puts me in a very double negative because I refuse to bash a program simply because we don't understand it. So I am formally, and have been for months, asking how is reading recovery implemented? What is the cost in our budget? How are we measuring it so that we can clear this up? Is it reading recovery? Is it not reading recovery? My understanding was that it was third grade scores. Those we can see up until right now, and I would like to see third grade scores and have some form of measurement that is objective, that isn't about judging a program or the work that's gone into it, but is an objective accountability and a board working together in very transparent communication. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards.
like to thank Venice Middle School for that beautiful opening. That I'd love to have it right now to sort of soothe us on the way out. I also want, just for clarification, when we do bring that conversation back up about the policy that we just passed, I'm really 100% for the policy as it's written and the way we divided it. But I will be amending my feeling about the 2-minute to 3-minute when we have that discussion, only because I heard, and believe it or not, listen to public comments. There are plenty of parents out there that I have spoken to individually when they email me and I answer them back, but I'm certainly open to that time frame. And I agree with Mrs. Goodwin that they should look at all of the other policies, DOE, the legislature, you name it. They're way under 2 and 3 minutes, but I am not looking to win the battle or lose the war. I also want to remind people that as much as I enjoy hearing from the parents that are here this evening, not all of the people that came were actually parents in our school district. They were from lots of places, and although I also want to hear from stakeholders, I just want to make sure that that was clear as well. So I wish everyone a good evening. Thanks.
Mrs. Brown.
And Tom, I know you don't need anyone to speak for you, but when people say taking politics out of the school board, if you're at a political meeting, that's where you share your political views. And just as we had a board member that attended a function down at the Hollow where some comments were made that not every board member was agreeable with or wherever they go, I mean, a board member has the, I think, ability or perhaps even the responsibility to let their feelings know when there is an issue that directly affects our school district that's before the legislature, or to go to this group and find out what it is their issue is, where they're talking about. I think just like someone would defend, one board member for going down to one, they shouldn't chastise another board member for going to something they don't agree with. And there are things that we just aren't going to agree on. But we know what the law is, we know what the statutes are, and that's what we're going to have to follow. But we do have personal feelings, and we're allowed to have those as our members of our audience. And let's just not call each other names in the process.
Thank you. Mrs. Ziegler.
Thank you. Excuse me. No, I also want to thank our students. It was really beautiful to see them and their performance, and I would love them to be here right again as we leave. I would agree. So thank you to the parents and students. Brian, I mean, it was amazing. And then I know we have very important things ahead of us as a district. Again, I like to say there are, as it was demonstrated here, remarkable things happening in this district across the board. And that's not to say anytime an issue that needs improvement is brought up is not diminishing the great work that is also taking place. And the reason I want to underscore that is because I do recognize the great things that occur. But again, I think it is important to, if we see a problem or we have a concern, we need to address it so that we don't have, so we can correct the problem. I know some people had mentioned a couple different things today, and I know that there are a lot of people in the community who are very concerned about it, and it was in regards to the medical exemptions. I know that there had been responses provided back to that. My position is that we need to be very thoughtful and consistent in any of our practices, and that being exemption, educational records in certain times have not been released because it's exempt from public records. And again, I am not an attorney. I just want to make sure we look at things and we practice them consistently, because I don't want that families to be alarmed. The one last thing I wanted to highlight, and I would be remiss, and I know that the superintendent and I've had extensive conversations, but it did cause me serious concern, was the statements in regards to the DJ case at the end of the last meeting. And I want to preface this with, I understand the details at a pretty profound level because I invested a substantial amount of time of my own to really understand it. But at the same time, I recognize no matter what, separating even from this case, no matter what it is, if there are people saying things about any member of the board or public officials, so it's a little different, but certainly members of staff, I understand the desire to try to protect that, and I think that is reasonable with any good leadership in a superintendent. My concern is understanding the process of this case and the time and the length and the impact it had on one individual, and understanding the legalities of it, that we not only spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for legal fees. There was a final settlement that was hundreds of thousands of dollars. The appeal was based on not on materiality, but it was based on statute of limitations, and it was based as far as the compensatory education piece of it. So, and then it was it's a part of our due process. We go to a DOA judge, and there was ruled twice. It was tried to appeal. Like I said, the appeal the district went forward on was not on materiality. It was based on statute of limitations. And then there was a final settlement. And I think that's really important because whether there are elements in there, it was a summation. I'm not the judge. It was an independent judge. And what I'm concerned with is to make those statements in that way, and that there was an investigation done, but to find it wasn't a very thorough investigation, then I worry about the erosion of what the on that process, the integrity of a process, any investigation. So I want to highlight this because I have seen the district in the prior years fall into certain items where things will be said or things will be done, and it really starts to have a ripple effect of undermining the integrity of processes. And I think due process is a very important piece of what we do, whether it be with students, whether it be with families, whether it be with whether it be with staff. And I want to make sure that is protected. And the final piece that I have to make is that I've been very vocal, as you many know, about IEP recordings. And a lot of the statement and pushback has been that the reason that we could not do IEP recordings or require upon request that IEP recordings take place was a concern that people would utilize them and post them on social media. Of course, that's not the intent. I would hope that doesn't happen. However, at the same time, would we make statements about a case or a position up here, you have to be very mindful that there is no two-way communication at that point. And I want to highlight that the very thing that I think was alleged may happen with IEP recordings could very arguably have been considered that it took place here at the dais. And so I do want to express my apologies and concern. I want to highlight the concern I have about how that can undermine the integrity of our investigation process and due process, and I do take it very seriously.
Mrs. Brown. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Asplin. Dr. Asplin's next.
First, I just want to also say thank you to all of our employees, our district level administrators who are here tonight. Thank you for spending this evening here with us. I really do appreciate all your hard work every single day and putting together information for this board packet and for our board work sessions each month. Thank you for that. Also, thank you to our police officers for staying after. I really appreciate it. Couple of items just to make sure that were clear that I heard that I just want to make sure that were clear. First of all, on the reading recovery, yes, thank you, Ms. Rose. I appreciate you bringing that up again. That is something that we have discussed in cabinet and in our curriculum department, and they are working to put all that together. And I think one of our workshops, April or May, Chris, which one is it? Okay, it's scheduled for May work session, and then one-on-one board meetings for next week. Mr. Renoff will have that together. And I know pushing it out to May, if you look at the number of items we have in our workshops, there's just so many items over the next couple of months. So we are working on that, and we will have that for you very soon.
And may I, since in including a budget and any budget decisions, I think is an important variable that for my accountability.
Yeah, I'll include anything you want me to
I
include.
appreciate that very much. Thank you.
And then as far as this case, Ms. Ziegler, with all due respect, I just want to respond to that and just, remind everyone that, there have been 4 or 5 times where different people have stood up and spoken from the podium and or in the town hall meetings before. And it's been very specific about item number 112. And so I just want everybody to be clear that I've asked for information to show me where a document was altered, because that's really what it was about in item number 112. It's very specific to a document being altered. And no one has been able to show that to me. And so I did my own quick review of that and found what I found. And it was not to back up any employee. It was to decide and figure out whether I needed to fire an employee or not. And so when I looked into it myself and looked at the documents, I found what I found, and that's what I talked about last time. So it was very specific to one item in that entire package, not because I wanted to do it. I wasn't here. I adopted this situation. And so as far as I'm concerned, let's move on. But it keeps coming up. And so I had to look into it. As your superintendent, I had to either clear the person's name or fire the person. And so that's why I did what I did. So I just want to be clear on that. I have no intention of messing up anything that had to do with any of the litigation or anything of that nature. I was just looking into it myself based on a few people who continue to bring it up and ask what was the result of that. And so that's what I found. I wasn't involved in it from the beginning, but I looked into it, and that's what I found. Again, just about the one item, number 112, not talking about the entire litigation or the entire case. Thank you.
Now
Mrs.
can I?
Brown?
Okay. I want to follow up on what Ms. Ziegler was saying. We do have to follow a process. And, and I think DJ brought the case up in what I found in the process. Even though the public can say things about the case, or there are certain people that can, as a board member, while a case is in process, we can't speak of it publicly at the table or with the press. And the same thing is true with employee issues. We had supporters of an employee here talking, I think, at the last meeting. Plus, I received text and an email or voicemail from an employee that has something. Now, as board members, we cannot get involved in those while they're in the process, because at some time we have to make a decision on it. So we can look at it, we can keep our opinions to ourselves, but we can't be sharing those things. And as far as two-way communications, it's right. Hearing of citizens is a one-way communication. If you have questions that you want answered, you need to take them to the superintendent or individual board members. But I mean, it's basically take it to the superintendent. If you got a problem at the children's school, take it to the school. It's not the place for a discussion. I stayed when we had the mask mandates, we were talking about, I stayed after and talked with a lot of people about that. Perhaps maybe we ought to have more where the board can talk to people and have something. But, the hearing of citizens, it's hearing, not discussing. And so we get a chance, but we don't always. But you're right, we've got to follow the process. And that sometimes ties our hands and zips our mouth. And I know Chair Goodwin would rather I had a lock on it more often than I do.
I do. I love you anyway, but yes, I do. I would just say that, that case was 2 years ago. It was unfortunate. It was difficult for all of us. It's over, folks. And that's the way I look at it. And have we had lots of other cases in that arena? No, we have not. So I think we're doing better than ever. I know our people are working themselves to the bone and ESE environment, and I think we all need to come together and collectively stop spreading rumors or stop talking about things that aren't productive. I'm only going to be on this board 8 more months. And for some of you, you'll be really happy about that. But I want it to be a good time. I love this school district. I would do anything I could to help people in this school district, our teachers, our staff, our students. This is the best place to be. There's no finer place than this school district. And we know people move here all the time because they tell me they do. I talked to the new city manager in Northport last night, and he was telling me about some of the people that this school district allowed him to get more new businesses in Northport. And that's a really great thing. So I wish that we would all use the collective we. I've talked to the superintendent about this. We need to use the collective we, not an I did this and I did that, but we do this together. And I'm hoping that, we will work together for the good of all of our students and all of our staff, and that we will move forward in a very positive way, not in a very divisive way. The main thing I want to discuss is the referendum. Nobody said a word about it tonight, but it's looming near and dear to our hearts on March the 8th. And you couldn't possibly be as happy that it will be over as Dandaleo and I will say that. But, this is the 6th time that I have been involved in this wonderful event. And a few months ago, I think I said to Tom Edwards, and I know I said it today, and I said, oh my gosh, I'll be glad when it's over. Well, now I'm finding myself that I'm not so sure I'm ready for it to be over, but I hope that everybody gets out and votes. Early voting is going on now. You can vote at 3 different locations, at the supervisor's office in Northport, in Sarasota, and in Venice from 8:30 to 4:30. I hadn't said anything that I can't say from this dais. And I hope you all will get out and vote or vote on March the 8th. And due to that referendum vote, we will not have a board meeting on March the 8th. We will have the next work session. Instead of doing it that day, we will do it on March the 10th. And starting at 9 o'clock in these chambers, followed by an executive session on safety and security. And as a reminder, the second board meeting in March will be exciting for us because we'll be taking it on the road Wednesday, March the 23rd at 6 p.m. in the Venice City Hall board chambers, which I'm very excited about. And we will have our friends from Venice highlighted again. So I want to thank our student representative. I want to thank all of you for this evening. I think it's been quite a great meeting. I want to thank all of our staff sitting here ready to go home. And we're adjourned.